Self-System Reconstruction 3. Meditation and the Integration of the Self in Time. I first sat down to meditate 8 years ago. My motivation was entirely practical: to ease anxiety, stabilize my emotions, and end a binge eating cycle that had troubled me for years. Looking back now, those practices led me through something much larger than I expected. What began as an attempt to change my life eventually became a deeper process, first stabilizing my nervous system and finally integrating different parts of myself across time. Phase 1. Collapsing the future. The meditation I first encountered was centered on the future. With my eyes closed, I would repeatedly rehearse an ideal version of life in my mind, feeling confident, healthy, composed, watching events unfold smoothly one after another. From a psychological perspective, this resembles mental contrasting and the rebuilding of self-efficacy. As a metaphor drawn from quantum physics, it resembles the observer effect. The path we focus on becomes the path most likely to unfold. What surprised me was how quickly changes appeared. Within a few months, several situations in my life that had once seemed impossible to resolve began to loosen. Problems that had felt like dead ends slowly opened up. One of the most important shifts was that I began stepping out of the binge eating cycle. At the time, I wrote in my journal, "Unbelievable. Consciousness really can reshape reality." Only later did I realize that this was merely the first layer of the process. The future had provided a kind of gravitational pull. It lifted me out of the mud, but it did not address the mud beneath my feet. Phase 2. Anchoring in the present. As my practice deepened, the emphasis gradually shifted toward awareness of the present moment. Through body scans, breath awareness, and various practices designed to enter what some traditions call the void, I began spending more time in what neuroscience describes as a parasympathetic dominant state. My anxiety softened. Emotional swings became less intense. For a while, my mind felt like a still lake. Yet something unexpected also began to happen. The impulse to write faded. Many things that once excited me no longer seemed important. In my journal, I wrote, "My mind is like still water." At first, I assumed this must be what people meant by inner peace, but gradually I began to see another side of it. I had fallen into a subtle philosophical trap, a quiet form of nihilism. If every emotion could be dissolved through breathing, then what remained of the uniqueness of existence? What I had created was a kind of defensive calm, a calm achieved by suppressing life's inner tension and vitality. Phase 3. Seeing the past. That calm lasted for quite some time, until one night when it shattered. I was living alone in a short-term apartment. After experiencing a powerful post-traumatic stress reaction, I broke down and cried uncontrollably. And then, for the first time, something appeared clearly in my awareness. I saw a presence that had always been there, but that I had long ignored: the 11-year-old girl trembling in the shadow of a fractured family. In that moment, I understood something startling. In all my previous efforts, I had been trying to bypass her. Future-focused meditation kept me running forward, endlessly constructing a better version of myself. Present-focused awareness taught me how to remain calm, as if placing a thick sheet of ice over a boiling heart, muffling every sound beneath it. But the frightened little girl had always been locked outside the door. That night, for the first time, I stopped and stayed with her. The philosopher Martin Buber wrote that we become truly ourselves only through encountering a you. That night, for the first time, the little girl changed from an it into a you. Phase 4. Integration across time. One night, under a full moon, something suddenly became clear. Until then, I had assumed that meditation followed only two paths, either moving toward the future or remaining in the present. But true completeness emerges only when three dimensions of time are present at once. This insight echoes what the philosopher Martin Heidegger called temporality. The past, memory, and emotion. This is where life gains its depth. It is where the child who still needs to be seen resides. The present, awareness, and stability. This is what allows us to stand here without being swept away by emotional currents. The future, direction, and meaning. This answers the question, where am I going? Many approaches emphasize only one of these. Some focus on the future, attempting to create life through imagination, but risk becoming ungrounded. Some emphasize only the present, dissolving everything into calm, but risk becoming rigid or empty. Others return repeatedly to the past in search of healing, but risk becoming heavy. Only when these three dimensions of time coexist can a person truly stand firmly. The future gives us direction. The present gives us stability. The past gives us emotional depth. When the three are connected, life regains its deep and expansive rhythm. What meditation ultimately changed? After many years, I no longer see meditation as a power that magically changes the world. It feels more like a system rebuild. Meditation did not solve every problem in my life. What it did was help me gradually see the structure inside myself. And as that structure became clearer, many things began to change naturally. My emotions grew steadier, my body began to cooperate, and my relationships with others started to flow more easily. Meditation did not remove me from reality. It simply taught me how to live with all versions of myself, past, present, and future, together.